Never, never, never die. Never die. Never die. Never die.
Fuck you. All right, this is the Angry Dad from the Angry Dad podcast. It is Sunday, 6 o'clock a.m. You might be wondering, why is Angry Dad up at 6 o'clock a.m.? You might be wondering, what is going on? Why am I up this early? You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you something right now. The reason I'm up this early, the reason why I'm doing this is because I got somebody that motivates me, somebody that I've been wanting to have on this podcast, but I don't know how to do shit. So, finally he's helping me out. He figured out what we needed to do, and it feels great. But before I get into that, I want to thank Blackstone Labs for sponsoring this podcast. You can get 20% off your entire order at blackstonelabs.com. That is 20% off your entire order. Excuse me, it's early in the morning, so I'm still fucking yawning. But that's 20% off. You want to get jacked, you want to get shredded, you want to put on some muscle, you want to get the body you want to achieve. Well, you know what? Blackstone Labs is here to help you. They'll help you achieve the goals you want. Protein, branched chain amino acids, pre-workouts, thermogenics. There's so many products they have, and they actually have 20. Man, I am not on point, but it'd be like that. The 20% off your entire order. They have samples. Order the fucking samples. When you order the samples, guess what? That's 20% off the samples. So B2the4thpower, blackstonelabs.com. Check them out. Easy as that. Also, to C&H Concrete serving the San Francisco Bay Area. That is C&H Concrete serving the San Francisco Bay Area. You got concrete work needed, residential, commercial, it does not matter. They can help you at C&H Concrete serving the San Francisco Bay Area. Also, to make sure all the notes and the information in the bottom, check them the fuck out. So here it is. I got the man from the Coffee Buzz himself podcast. Look, introduce yourself, my friend.
Hey, how's it going, Ben? I'm Brad, and it's an honor to be on your show, man. Like you were saying before, it's funny that I motivate you because I listen to your shows for motivation. So it's kind of like a good loop that we got going on here.
Exactly. It's I'm because usually I go to the gym on the bike or treadmill, stairmaster at the gym, and I'm doing my cardio and I'm listening to the podcast. But now my routine is, either Sunday or which typically is, so pretty much after this, as soon as I go in my garage, I step on my stationary bike, I do my cardio, I put on podcasts. I like to listen to podcasts, and I'm saying, just listen to it. It motivates me to just want to focus more mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times, like this is how I feel about your podcast, because a lot of times I'm always physical. You know what I'm saying? I'm always working on mental stuff, but the thing is there's aspects of stuff that I never think about. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it helps me focus my mind more sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, you know what? I need to fucking really pay more attention to certain things that I'm not paying attention to. You know what I'm saying? Because like I always feel centered, but then am I centered?
Well, it's an ongoing thing. Oh yeah, absolutely. Even for me, I listen to yours, and I'll be honest, since this whole quarantine thing started, I've been sort of like sleeping in late, getting up barely in time to go to work. And then I just feel like, I don't know, like in this funk. And one day last week, you had this episode. It just kicked me right in the ass. And I said, you know what? I'm getting up tomorrow at 5 a.m. I'm doing my routine. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to work on some episode ideas. And it just, man, it got me moving. So I like yours because it's no nonsense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I listen to it for.
Oh yeah, like I said, and before we even get too further, the thing that ties us together, and a lot of people don't know, is like I fell into a podcast network of people that I started listening to. I got introduced from Cameron Haynes, posted a video of the Uncle Randy from Married as Fuck podcast.
Yeah.
And he's part of the Uncivilized Creatures. And then from listening to Uncivilized Creatures kind of led me down a little rabbit hole of other podcasts. And then I fell upon the Untrained Eye. And I was listening to the Untrained Eye, and Beth, I called her Death. Oh my God. Beth and DJ, you know what I'm saying? They mentioned you more than a few times, and I was like, you know what? Let me check this out. You know,
yeah.
That's how we discover each other. That's how we find each other. It's always through recommendations. And when they recommended that, and they're like, man, it's short. It's very motivated on. Like he makes me like these two podcasts need to connect. They're very powerful. And then he had made a comment, and the comment was that he's got such a voice, it just makes you feel like he could start a cult and call us all down there. And I was like, And once I heard that, I was like, you know what? I definitely need to hear this guy. and as soon as I started listening to you, I DM'd DJ. I was like, you're right, man. He's got that voice.
Definitely not looking to start a cult, but it was a compliment nonetheless. Yeah. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Untrained Eye, man, those guys, they're like the Kevin Bacon of podcasts,
Oh,
everybody knows
dog.
them from somewhere else, right? So we're
Yeah.
all connected through the Untrained Eye.
That's it. 7 degrees.
Yes.
Um, so I was like, so I thought that was pretty good. And like I said, is even when I if you start delving deeper into my podcasts, my first ones were rough. But the thing
Oh,
is I didn't know what I was doing. Everything was literally from my phone. Like all my first
oh
audio
wow.
ones, yeah, I think I did like the first 100, maybe 100, maybe 100, just audios, no
Really?
videos, and it was just
Wow.
me and it was just me in my car screaming into my phone. So it looked like I'm screaming at somebody while I'm talking to them. That's just how it was. But I didn't know what I was doing or how to do anything. I just kind of one of my partners, one of my friends, really good friends, a brother of mine, was just, you need to do a podcast. You need to do this. You'll be really good. Trust me, trust me, trust
Huh.
me. He hounded me down for about a year before I was like, all right, I'm doing this. I downloaded the app. I was like, I set myself up. And then, oh my God, like I said, we had a conversation before we started, is I'm not tech savvy. And so
Oh
not
yeah.
being tech savvy, I'm like a fucking chimp on a fucking computer, like typewriter, like, what the fuck, why is this not working? You know? And then once I finally set myself up, I just, it was pretty simple after that, though.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
look at you now, though. You're like, what, 320 something episodes in?
Oh yeah, and the thing is it feels, it's like a therapy. It's like motivation. It's all these things. So a lot of times, like when I'm speaking on these podcasts, it's life advice I've already been through. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I'm like, and I didn't grow up with a dad, so I wanted to help those. That's not what I intentionally started with, but
Hmm.
after a while, it just started pouring out of me, because originally when I started doing this, it was just me ranting about people that I hate. You know what I'm saying? And I still do the rant about people I hate, things that I
Yeah.
hate. But the thing is it's a little bit of a balance.
Oh yeah. No,
Some,
I think it's a great balance. Some are rant episodes, some are motivating.
oh
It's
yeah,
a good blend. Yeah, it's a good blend for sure.
oh yeah. And what got you started into podcasting? What got you, into doing all this and getting this started and created?
Man, I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I didn't know how to go about it. I mean, I started off in radio back in high school and worked in radio, different stations for like 4 or 5 years, and everything was going to like a satellite. You hear one guy in a booth, but he's broadcasting to like 10 different stations. And after getting laid off multiple times for that, I just said, this is not a wise career choice. And so I went into the corporate world and I just sort of missed missed that broadcasting side of it. It was my passion. And uh, I just decided one day, that I had a story to tell. I started feeling more confident about my story, and saw this thing online about getting free podcasts through Anchor, and I thought, what the hell, man? Let's try this out. And it's just been a wild experience. Like you said, you start off kind of one way with it, and it
Yeah.
just sort of evolves and it becomes like my weekly therapy. When I'm telling going into a subject, it's not because I'm an expert, it's because I want to learn more about it. I definitely don't
Yeah.
want to come off as like I know everything, but I'm more like teaching myself through the podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's a lot of us too. Like I said, we're all still learning, just going through this, because this whole podcast thing it's still evolving. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
as it evolves, what I'm saying, there's so many podcasts, so many people out there putting out content, but it's crazy because there's so many people almost doing the same thing, but yet it's always individually done. So like, even though everyone's doing this, everyone's got their own little twist, and that's what's great about it. That's what I love about podcasts. That's what I love about what's going on in this day and age with it. Because like I could literally, someone might be doing two murder mystery podcasts, but the thing is they're complete opposites. They're on polar ends of the
Right.
spectrum. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy. Like it's like I said, I used to love listening to the radio, but I used to always love listening to morning radio. I used to love the
Right.
banter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then eventually, they can't speak the way they want to speak, or they can't say what they want to do. And a lot of times you hear these people talking about like, like we have filters, we have this, we can't do this. But the thing is almost all those shows are gone, and they're all doing
Yeah.
podcasts and being very successful. And it's because they can actually talk how, the regular people, us people, the actual people that listen to the radio can want to talk. And now,
It,
what I'm saying, radio's almost dead.
it really is. Yeah. I look at podcasting as the way radio was back, 50 years ago, where a guy was in the booth, talking from the heart. There was no delay. It was
Yeah,
all live.
exactly,
So,
exactly.
yeah, that's what I love about it. It's a great platform for sure. And
Oh
you get
yeah,
to, I didn't realize like how cool the community was, you know,
yeah.
so
It
supportive.
so supportive, and that's the crazy thing too, is because it's like almost like a pot fam out there where, like, I just created a network, and it was like a group meeting, because I have this group text message of like 7 to 10 different podcasts. We all communicate, we all talk to each other, we all cross platform, all the stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And it's more, you would think, people would be out for themselves, but they're not. They're like, hey,
Hmm.
it's all about having a good time and having fun, because that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I have questions, or if I have problems, I call these guys up like, how do I do this? And they know that I'm stupid. And so fucking, they're like, let me walk you through it. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Because I'm always picking their brains. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know what to do. And they're like, it's easy, do this. And I'm like, why didn't I know that?
Well, we all collectively, we all have the hive mind going on. Everybody knows something that somebody else doesn't. Like you
Exactly.
have. We were talking a little bit before, and all the video aspect of this. I'm still a total novice on all that stuff. I
Oh,
got to get
yeah.
into that.
Trust, if the video part was as easy as the podcast part, man, I'd have no problem.
For sure.
Ooh.
Man, so
Oh,
how
yeah.
you holding up not being able to go to the gym right now? I know that's a passion of yours.
Oh, no, it's a super passion. But the thing is, always thinking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Me and my wife always had gym stuff,
Oh,
but because
nice.
we always had the gym, we don't, you know what I'm saying? We're like, nah, don't need to clean we put off cleaning the garage. We put off putting things away, changing things up. And so what's happening now is we're in the process. Like, my garage doesn't even look like my garage anymore, because I literally ripped like all the cabinets and all the old stuff finally that we wanted to do. I had a buddy of mine who had a squat rack. I literally picked up the squat rack. We have almost a complete home gym. We're on the hunt for a couple of things, but
Yeah.
we're pretty much already set up. As soon as it got to the point where they were, because like we were like, all right, a month, crew, cool. We got a elliptical, not elliptical. We got a bike and a treadmill. Just
Mhm.
do some cardio, we'll be good. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
not stressing it. But as soon as they were like, oh, we're extending this, and we're like, well, shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not losing these games, and I'm not what's calling it. So,
Yeah.
I called my buddy up late. I'm gonna come get that squat rack. Built it in the garage, got everything set up, put out our weights, put out our gym equipment, and like we're already hitting we're already hitting workouts. You know what I'm saying? We're already
Oh,
doing all that
nice.
stuff. So exactly, nothing puts me off. One of the things that because obviously a lot of people can't see me full. There's just half a body. I'm
Right.
6'5", and I
Wow.
was 3. Yeah, exactly. And I'm a big, thick dude, bro. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
man. Yeah.
I am. Yeah, like, my presence is felt in everybody in the room. So,
Dude, I would
like,
look like a hobbit if we were walking down the street. People would think we
oh
were trying to throw a ring into Mordor or something.
yeah. Oh, I tell you.
No, that's great
Oh
that
yeah,
necessity is the mother of invention, right? Like you're
exactly.
turning it
Oh yeah.
around.
Oh yeah, no, big time. You know what I'm saying? So like we got the whole home gym set up, so we're not worried anymore about that. And then we got a whole bunch of home projects and stuff like that. But
Oh, yeah.
like I said, we're pretty content on what's going on. There's a lot of shows and stuff we wanted to do and go to, but everything's canceled, so it's not like we do anything anyways. You
Yeah,
know,
you were
and
getting active with your stand-up too for a while, right? Like you were.
oh man, wait, the day of my show that I was supposed to do the stand-up comedy because I started doing stand-up comedy back in January. First time was in the middle of January,
Okay.
and then the following month of doing my stand-up, I have a guy named Arturo, young kid, you know what I'm saying, he's way younger than me, approaches me at an open mic and is like, "Hey, I'm putting on this show at Tommy T's, and Tommy T's is a legit comedy store. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
nice. Yeah.
Like a real deal. Like, you know, famous people come here to do comedy. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm doing a showcase, and I would love you to be on my show." And I was like, "Are you fucking serious? Like, I just started doing this." He's like, "No, you're pretty good already." I'm like, and I credit it to doing podcasting because I'm already used to talking to the camera, used to talking to, you know, at least talking to something that I can't see, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And so, you know, I was like a little devastated, but, you know, opportunities happen, things happen that
Yeah.
you can do. And, you know, hopefully I'll be able to pick up and start again.
Sure.
But,
Absolutely. Yeah. Life will eventually get back to normal.
oh,
People will
yeah.
go to comedy clubs again, I hope.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, I know you did the whole vegan month. Are you still continuing the vegan month or
Oh,
you,
oh yeah. I've been vegan for a little over 4 years now.
okay,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And it's weird the way it happened.
yeah.
I had cancer back when I was like in my early 20s.
Oh, man.
And yeah, Hodgkin's disease. And it was weird the way I found out. Like it was this mass on my
Yeah.
right hand side of my lung. And I had this dry cough all the time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I kept putting it off. And I finally went to the doctor and they gave me a scan. They're like, bro, you got cancer,
Oh,
And so
man.
it changed my world. Before that,
Yeah.
I was like very, depressed in my head and I ate like shit.
Yeah.
And after that whole experience, and it took me a while, but I stopped drinking. I went vegan. This happened mainly after I had my daughter.
Yeah.
It's crazy the way family can change you like that.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the realest talk right there.
Yeah, I mean, suddenly, but before all my wife and my kid, like I was, all over the place, unfocused in my career, like just, like I said, just depressed and thinking about all the wrong things all the time.
Mhm.
And as soon as I started going to these chemo treatments and seeing people next to me that were, because I had like the easy cancer, like
Yeah.
they could get rid of mine, but I'm sitting next to people with like stomach cancer. A chemo lab is just like a big room filled with like big
Yeah.
chairs, and you get
Oh,
to
yeah.
know
No,
these
no.
people.
Yeah. You're sitting
And
real close to them.
yeah, and so you would just every week, talk to somebody, and I realized then like how lucky I was. And
Yeah.
it snapped me out of my funk. It took me a while. I had to meet my wife first before I,
Yeah.
really
Yeah. No,
started
no.
getting
Go through.
serious about it. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that was a big wake up call, and it just set me on a path, and that's why I started thinking, well, it's weird the way one good habit leads to another,
Yeah.
because as soon as I stopped drinking, because I was an alcoholic before, I don't have anything against people that drink, but for
Yeah.
me, it's just too much, and
Yeah.
so once I stopped doing that, though, I thought, well, man, maybe I should clean up the diet, and stop eating all this garbage, all this processed food and stuff, and man, that just it changed everything. Like I'm 45 now and I can still, I'm not setting any records, but I still get out there and run, several miles, a week. Not so much now, but I ran 4 marathons since that whole thing happened,
Nice.
and it just made me appreciative, made me thankful for my health.
Oh, that's good. It was funny too, because when you said you were vegan, I was like, oh man, that's so cool. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to that. I'm carnivore.
Yeah,
And the majority of everything I eat is basically only meat and animal
yeah,
fats. And one of the reasons I do that is, like I said, back in January, not January, June, a month before I went to get married, I had like a widowmaker, like a major heart attack. Like I
really.
wasn't, yeah, yeah. That was it. I had a blood clot and there's nothing
Oh
you can do. And
man.
they found out that no, it's fine, bro. Ended up finding that I had like a defect in one of my arteries that go into my heart, so it's inoperable. So now I'm on all these pain medications and heart medications and all this stuff, and it messed up my stomach. And so before I had no issues with gluten, I had no issues with wheat or any kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, like all of a sudden, I'm like, man, I feel bloated all the time. I feel sick all the time. My stomach is irritable.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. And then being, I used to be a bodybuilder and used to do all these things. So I always modify my diet to make it to how I want. And so I went real low carb, cut out all the breads, what I'm saying? I was just barely eating what I needed to eat. And then what ended up happening is my stomach went down. I was feeling better.
Yeah.
And then, and I'm like, oh, it's because I changed the diet. It just happens. And then me and my wife went to Outback Steakhouse. And when you go to Outback Steakhouse, what's the first thing they do at the table? They bring that loaf of delicious fucking bread, that brown bread with the butter. And I'm like, I am not coming to Outback Steakhouse and not eating this bread. So, and I just didn't eat one. I ate two. My wife ate maybe like a little tiny piece. And I'm like, let me butter this fucking bread. And I eat it and I eat it. And then I'm like, we get back to the house. And then I went from a flat stomach to my stomach like being pushed out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no kidding.
And and I'm like,
that quick.
What's going on? That quick. I'm like, I don't feel good. And so I tested it and I was like, you know what? No more bread. I stopped eating bread. I went back to, strict low carb, like barely and when I mean low carb, I was just eating vegetables. That's what my carbohydrates are coming from. They're coming from vegetables only. And so as soon as like maybe 3 or 4 days, my stomach went down a little bit, and then the next week it went down a little bit. So I made myself a sandwich. I ate that sandwich. Boom. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, and plus I'm on like all these medications, so I'm assuming it just messed up my gut biome.
Yeah. Right.
And that's why I transitioned into keto. And once I transitioned to keto, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. But then I started transitioning into carnivore. And once I transitioned into carnivore, I'm like, man, I've been eating like this more my whole life. Only thing I'm doing is cutting out the vegetables. You know what I'm saying? I'm still having a little bit of nuts in here and there. Because macadamia nuts are real high in fat. So that's where the majority will get my macadamia nuts. And then, of course, I supplement. You know what I'm saying? I take animal packs. I take all these other things to get the essential vitamins and nutrients. And, I always eat a lot of omegas. I'm very big on that. MCT oil.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so come to find out that just helped me more. You know what I'm saying? And
that's interesting.
Just more accustomed to my body. It makes me feel better. It helps me maintain the amount of muscle mass because the amount of protein I just have to eat in general is just I'd have to eat because like literally my calorie count, protein account is just so high just to stay as big as I am.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I just thought it was funny because I'm like, man, that's so cool. He's a vegan over here doing the motivation. I'm carnivore over here doing the motivation.
Yeah.
Somehow we're still in the middle. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, we could still get along even though we're on two different sides of the what are they call them, food tribes now?
Exactly. So I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, oh my God. I was like, man, both these sides are gonna roll over in their fucking graves.
Well, I think people get too caught up in like my way is the only way. Of course, I want everybody to be vegan, but I'm not gonna lose my shit over it. That somebody's not.
Exactly.
What I find interesting about diets that work, like either keto or paleo or vegan, is the people that are in the best shape are the ones that cut out processed foods. It seems like to me. What do you think of that?
Well, the thing is like they're processed foods. This is just me. Processed foods has a point of what you need to do because like sometimes the processed foods have these complex carbohydrates in them, and when you're putting on muscle, certain kinds of those products will feed the muscle a different way than regular food. Like sometimes if I want to look bigger the next day, I'll have a certain kind of processed food.
Oh,
and I'll get that, and I'll get that result. But the thing is I've been reading my body like this for so long that I know what to eat to let me know, like, oh, we're going to this wedding. Oh, we're going to this party. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I'll just kind of eat a little something that's not good for me, and it rehydrates the body in a way that it's reacting. Because like if you eat a certain way all the time, your body only reacts that certain way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's
comfortable. But once you add that little bit of change, and processed foods are not good for you. But like I said, though, they'll add a stimulus that's different than what you're regular eating to get a result that you want. But also too, that's like a whole, I just want to look bigger. I want to feel bigger. So I'm going to eat this thing, whether it's, placebo or not. It's just, I've always noticed that difference. You know what I'm saying? Like with bodybuilding, you pay attention to how you eat and what you eat, because everybody's body is different when it comes to food. And the thing is like when I was at my biggest, when I was 300 pounds, jacked and shredded, you get what we call flat. You work out so much, your body gets stale, because what happens is you're not getting a pump. Your body's not getting a reaction, either low on sodium, low on iron, low on magnesium. They could be all these different factors that but because you're eating such a bland diet all the time. So like a lot of times, a lot of my meals would just consist of chicken, beef, or rice. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever other like, bread, muffins, whatever, to feed my muscle and feed the carbohydrate calorie count that I needed to eat to work out as hard as I did. But when you get to a point where everything's stale and your body doesn't feel good no more, and you're like, man, I'm like, my workouts aren't good anymore, I would eat something different. And so that's what a cheat meal would be. A cheat meal is not, I deserve it. A cheat meal is something's happening to my body and I'm not feeling how I should be feeling. So I eat this food to achieve the feeling that I need for my body to feel good. Yeah. So it's almost like a replenishment, a refeed, a way to, what's called. So like when I was at my biggest, I would literally have this one pizza place I can go to. I can get a cheese garlic pizza, eat that pizza, and it wouldn't affect me that day. But when I wake up in the morning, every vein in my body would be into the skin, bulging and rippling, because, like after my body processed everything in that pizza, then I'd be like, all right, I got what I wanted, and now I'm back to my regular food. You know what I'm saying?
You kind of treat it like a science experiment, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Then that's what like a lot of times what people don't understand, like with bodybuilding, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Everything's measured, weighed, and counted. I know exactly how many calories I've eaten, how many proteins I've eaten, how much fats I've eaten. Like everything's broken down. Yeah. So you understand, like, all right, since I've eaten this, I know that, like, all right, so something's not working. So I'm feeling flat, and that's what you call, like, a lot of bodybuilders be like, I feel flat. And the reason they feel flat is because everything's deflated. They're missing something they don't eat. So then you get that refeed. You get that real cheat meal, not I deserve cheat meal.
Right. Yeah. Huh. That's crazy. I never thought about it like that. Like that you can utilize those things. Yeah.
Like I said. Oh, man, it's pretty crazy. Like I said, that's one of those things when but that's the thing though too. That's playing with your body. That's like, like I said, it's so weird because like this is all stuff that I had to read and bodybuild to figure it out.
Yeah. That's cool. How long you been into that? When did you start like going to the gym and saying, you know what, I'm gonna put on some size here?
I want to say probably around when I turned 27. I had got my not 20, probably like 26. I got divorced for the first time, and I was completely lost. Didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. And I always knew I wanted to work out. I always knew I wanted to do these things. But the thing was I didn't know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm at that moment in time, I'm 3 kids deep, lost in the spectrum of divorce, not knowing what the fuck's going on. Yeah. And my mom, I was living with my mom, sleeping on her couch. And she looks at me one day and she's like, what the fuck do you want to do? And I'm like, I think I want to work out. And she's all, well, the gym's down the street. I'll watch the kids, go do your fucking thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And, and the thing is I started doing that. And it's a trip because like I fell in love with it. You know what I'm saying? I really fell in love with lifting weights and lifting heavy weights and having that badass feeling. Yeah. The thing that was a trip is that, once other people kind of seen that I was really dedicated to this, they took me under their wing. And when they took me under the wing, man, they beat the fuck out of me, bro. All right. I thought I was training like a motherfucker, bro. I thought I was a beast. All right. That wasn't the case. All right. That was not the case. It's a trip because it's just like, and then once they started training me and they're like, all right, everything, you don't need us no more. And then I just went out in the world and did it myself. And
wow, good for you, man.
Yeah, like I said, it's a trip.
Yeah.
So, and I know you like running. So what got you the most into running?
It was that initial. It was funny the way that it happened because, kind of like yourself, after being sick, like I started going to the gym, and I never went crazy with it. You know what I mean? I'm like I said, I'm kind of a small dude, so I don't think I could actually put on much size. So but I was getting a little soft, like when you're short and you put on 20 pounds, like that's a lot. So I started thinking, okay, I need to start working out. So I go to the gym one day and I'd been sort of, getting a little bit of gains and cutting back, losing a little bit of weight. And I see a flyer on the desk about the marathon. And I saw it and I thought I was talking to the guy that working there and I said, who's crazy enough to run a marathon? Like who are these people? And he was like, dude, I don't know. Like it's 26.2 miles. Like I don't even like to drive that far. And I go home and I just couldn't get the thought out of my head. It was like this voice telling me like, you need to register for that race. And so without knowing anything about running a marathon, I registered, about a week later and just started running. And then at work, I mentioned this, like, oh yeah, I'm trying to run for a marathon, and this lady that I worked with who had ran one said, "What? Well, show me what you're doing." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not following a schedule. I just go out and run." And she just kind of laughs at me and she says, "Okay, let's get a calendar." And she started writing out a running schedule for me. And once that happened, it just, it was like this whole new um, mental thing. It wasn't even so much physical, but just pushing your body to that limit and, really going through when you're out there for 3 hours. I mean, you just kind of empty your head, it's like an exorcism of my thoughts, you know what I mean? And ever since then, I've kind of been hooked. I've definitely backed down. I haven't ran a marathon in probably, I don't know, 10, 15 years now. But I get out there and I do some organized races. Like now I'm more into trail running. I kind of go now to sort of get away from everybody. Not that I don't like people, but, just to kind of get that solitude. I don't
Yeah.
need to be around the crowds anymore cheering me on. Now it's more just like getting out into nature and doing it for that reason.
Oh yeah. No, it feels good when you can actually do that because I say right now, when I put my earphones on,
Yeah.
nobody exists to me, bro. And so I 100% understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But like I said, it's so crazy because like I said, it's just what on your 15-minute mark on because that's kind of how I feel your podcast runs. What
Yeah.
was your general like idea of putting these short ones out?
Well, when it's just me, I just felt like I can't. I think the longest solo episode I have is like 30 minutes. That was me kind of trying to convince the world to go vegan. but but the I feel like I lose people if I go over that. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot.
Yeah.
When you and I are talking, we could probably go for a while and people
Oh
still be
yeah.
engaged because there's two different people going. But when it's just a solo podcast, I think 15 to 20 minutes is sort of the sweet spot. I
Yeah.
have seen some guys there's a running podcast I listen to, and that dude weekly, he will record a 2-hour episode of just him talking about running. And
Yeah.
I'm in awe of those people. I mean, a lot of people be like, really? You'll listen for 2 hours to this guy? But I don't always make it through all his episodes, but just that somebody can open up a mic like that. Like
Yeah.
Bill Burr's another one. He can just turn the mic on and go, and it's fascinating to listen to people do that. But I'm not that guy. I've got to like edit, cut out all the mistakes and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm new at this too. I've only been doing it for about a year and a half or so. What about how long have you been doing it to get up to 300 episodes?
Um, Man, I've been doing it since my son is, I want to say almost eight years. I only
Wow.
no, it can't be 8 years. It'd be 4 years because the reason it was 4 years is I started doing this when my son was in finishing kindergarten all the way up to till now. But so I kind of think it's like maybe 4 years, 3.5 years of doing it. But like I said, I do 3 a week, so it adds up really quick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah, your pace
even
is crazy.
oh yeah, well I got a lot to say, so And like even with mines, I started doing mines my 15 minutes, and the only reason I was doing 15 minutes because it was free. And then I got a certain amount of time for free, and then I had to start paying to use the platform. And I'm like, all right, cool. I don't, then I started. So from when I started paying to use the platform, I started running past 15 minutes.
Hmm.
And then what ended up happening is as I was passing 15 minutes, I was like, I feel like I'm losing content. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And now I'm just babbling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of getting straight to my point. So I'm starting here, but I'm not ending here. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Where I want to put the period on it. So I think my longest is 45 minutes. And then I'm like, you know what? Let me just scale it back to around 15 minutes. And then IGTV, when they started coming around, it was 10 minutes, and then they gave us an additional 5 minutes. And so I was only putting like pieces of my podcast up on IGTV, but once they gave me 15 minutes, I'm like, all right, cool. That's kind of where my limit marker is. I will go over it if I need to, but the thing is
Yeah.
like I will like this is my stopping point, and this is what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And on top
Yeah.
of it, like it like I'm always better under pressure. I always like to say that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the more pressure on me, the better I'm gonna be. So like I have that. Like I gotta get this done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let me make sure I'm spitting exactly what I need to say out into this mics, into these people's ears, so they understand what the fuck I'm saying. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I feel that helps me out a little bit.
No, yeah, for sure. I think putting some kind of constraint on a creative project actually helps out. It
Yeah.
helps kind of focus it, like you said, and yeah, that's another reason I like the 15-minute episodes, or that's typically most people's commute.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends and people that listen to me tell me like, oh yeah, I listened to you on the way to work today or whatever, and I think, okay, that's my demographic. That's the people I'm going after.
Oh yeah.
We all can't be Joe Rogan yet, right?
Nah, very true. So yeah, it works out pretty well. Like I said, same thing. Everyone's like, I wish you would do longer. I'm like, I could only do this because this is where it fits for me.
Yeah. I forget who it was that said this, and I don't know if it was show business or a comedian or what, but they said, always leave them wanting more.
That's the truth right there.
That way they come back. If you overstay your welcome, that's no good.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, at this, let me cut it right here. This is the Angry Dad. You listen to Angry Dad podcast. This is the man right here. I'm pointing right at him. Coffee Buzz Podcast. Make sure you go listen. Let these people know where to find you.
I'm on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, pretty much all over the place. Or you can check out my website at thecoffeebuzzpodcast.com. Ben, thank you for having me on, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. And everybody, I'm gonna put all his notes, all the information in the bottom. Make sure you go check him out. Make sure you go follow him. Help him on Instagram. Help him on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, maybe we see about getting some videos of the podcast up when he does them.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
maybe
hurt, you know.
I need to step up to your level.
You know what I'm saying? And so this is the Angry Dad. Thank you for watching. Make your rate review both our podcasts because it helps us both out. All right. You want to watch it? Shit. IGTV, YouTube. You want to listen to it? Spreaker, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, SoundCloud, Deezer, iHeartRadio. This motherfucker's everywhere. Easy as that. Also, make sure you check out my sponsors, BlackstoneLabs.com, B2the4thpower at checkout, CNH Concrete, serving the San Francisco Bay Area. Get your concrete work handled. And guess the fuck what? I'll see y'all motherfuckers on the next one. Fuck.